Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Board of Appeals. My name is Frank O'Brien, and I will be acting as the acting chair for this hearing, which deals with the application of Bridie O'Sullivan and Patrick Kelly of 584 Pleasant Street through their attorney, Marion McKettrick, who is also present, dated July 24th, 2025, seeking a special permit and/or variance to remove an existing gable and rebuild a full third-story gable-style roof to the existing structure located at 584 Pleasant Street. The property is located in a Residence C zoning district. The proposed plan would make the dwelling a three-story structure, whereas the Milton zoning bylaw Article X, Section 275.9.1A, the heights regulations, allows only a 2.5-story structure. In addition, the proposed additions would be built at a distance of 9.8 feet from the left side lot line, whereas the zoning bylaw in Article X, Section 275-10.3A, side yards, requires that all buildings or portions of buildings be set back a minimum of 10 feet from the side lot line. All as therein set forth in the application and plans on file on board and open to public inspection. As I mentioned, I will be acting as chair of this. Joining me for this evening are two well-respected veteran members of the board, Kathleen O'Donnell, who is the chair of the larger zoning board, and Jeffrey Mullen. Welcome to the Board of Appeals. I also see, I think the applicant, Mr. Kelly, is on as well. What I'm going to do at this particular point in time is I'm just going to recite for the record some of the contents of the file. With this application are included the following documents: a denial letter from our interim building commissioner, Mr. J. Bolio, dated July 14th, 2025. The application form itself for the variance and special permit. A plot plan by C.S. Kelly, registered land surveyor, dated June 2, 2025. A conceptual building plan in several sheets, which looks to be quite extensive. I did not count the number of sheets, but it's quite an extensive plan. The current deed, a recorded plan of land dated May 15th, 1922, a GIS plan, and an assessor's record in a doc. Also included in this package is a document. I'm just going to read it briefly in the record. It appears to be a sign-up sheet or I guess I would call it a letter of support. To the Milton Board of Appeals, I've reviewed home improvement plans of my neighbor Patrick Kelly has shown to me, and he has explained that this project will require relief from the Board of Appeals. I have no objection to the board granting the necessary zoning relief. This is signed by 5 persons. Mr. The guy Patrick. Apologies if I've definitely mispronounced that name. 880 Pleasant Street. John Barry of 8 Hillcrest Road. Kevin, it looks like Curran, 90 Pleasant Street. I think it's 90 Pleasant Street. Attorney McKettrick can correct me if I'm wrong, or 590 Pleasant Street. I can't really tell. Michael Kinsella, 10 Hillcrest Road, and a name I can't quite make out, but the address is 583 Pleasant Street. Mrs. McKettrick, maybe you can help me out with 2 of those names.
You're 4 and 5, are you referring to?
Yes.
It looks like Martine Gravel, possibly,
Okay.
and then Michael Kinsella is the last one.
All right, thank you. Those are the contents of the file, and as I mentioned, they are all open for public inspection. The rules of the board are such that we will first hear from the applicant. and then we will propound questions to the applicant from the board. Once the applicant has finished, we will then hear from any persons who may have an interest and who may wish to speak either in support or against the application. So with those preliminaries, Attorney McKettrick, welcome back to the Board of Appeals, and how can we help you this evening?
Thank you. And I represent the applicants. And they are providing a plan tonight to reconstruct the third floor of their home at 384 Pleasant Street. This reconstruction will increase the floor space to create a full third story. At the present time, there is one room, fairly large room.
Marion, let me stop you for 1 second. You said 384. I just want to
I'm
make sure
sorry,
it's 584.
It is 584. I'm sorry, I.
Thank you, sorry.
Reason. 584 Pleasant Street. Yeah, that's because I have a typo in notes here. Okay. The new third story, because it will include a full bathroom as well as a bedroom, will exceed 2/3 the floor area of the second story by about 263 square feet. The peak of the finished house as proposed will be 34.1 feet from mean grade. That is within the residential height restriction, but the full 3 stories is not. And furthermore, there is a side setback that's non-conforming. This is also a pre-existing non-conforming. This is also a pre-existing non-conforming lot. It's just under 5,000 square feet. And as a result of both of those proposals, this application is subject to a special permit standard for intensifying the non-conforming side setback, but it's also subject to a variance because a new nonconformity is being created when the expansion of the third floor leads to it being defined as a third floor. So the interim building commissioner, Jay Bolia, determined the variance was required. The standards for a variance include the standard for a special permit, which is no substantial detriment to the surrounding neighborhood. So I believe that what's required here is that the board consider granting a variance, and then that would include all the necessary relief. The applicant, as you already described, they have discussed their plans with their neighbors, all of their immediate neighbors, and each of the budding neighbors and across the street, the neighbors have provided signatures stating that they have no objection to granting this requested relief. The reason for this request is the Kelly family consists of the parents and 3 children, ages 4, 5, and 7. The proposed renovations would create a private bathroom and bedroom on the 3rd floor for the parents, and in general, more comfortable living space for the family. In order to do these renovations, the stairwell to the 3rd floor is being moved, so 1 bedroom existing space will be taken up by that stairwell. And a bathroom, I believe an additional bathroom is being added to the 2nd floor as well. This is a recently purchased home, and these are all the renovations, some of the renovations that the family is doing to make this a more comfortable place to live. They've designed this additional family living space within a very small size lot. So they're going up. You can't really go out, can't go back very far. And the design that they have created with a change in what is now a sunroom in the front of the house, which will become a mudroom, means that all of the windows now will become uniform in the front of the house. The style of the roof will not change, but the roof height will be increased by about 4.8 feet, I believe. So what you have very detailed architectural plans from Rockwood Design there on 26 pages. And these plans include elevations that will show you what the existing house looks like and what the renovated house would look like as renovated. The applicants have begun doing some renovations in the remaining part of the house, and they are very eager to find out whether the Board of Appeals will approve completing the 3rd floor in the way that they propose. So that's my quick summary, and I'd be glad to answer questions. And Patrick Kelly is here as well, if you have questions for him.
Thank you, Mrs. McKettrick. Mr. Kelly, is there anything you wish to say at this particular point in time?
Not really, no. We're trying to create more space for our family, just get rooms for the kids. It's pretty tight right now. So I'm just hoping to see what you guys have to say.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Kelly. Thank you, Attorney McKettrick. Let me turn it over to members of the board for questions. Ms. O'Donnell, do you have any questions or comments?
Not so much. I just, want to say that actually I delivered books to the prior owner of this place. So I did see the sunroom many times. She was parked there with bags of books. You've never seen anybody read so much as she did. It was really remarkable. Yeah, I can appreciate the fact that the space is pretty tight for 5 people. But you're not the height of the roof is the same. You're just sort of expanding the sides.
No, the gable has to go up higher to create more headroom.
Oh, okay.
The look is going
Yeah.
to stay the same of the house, just we're
Yeah,
adding
but okay,
just
but it
the
is going to.
dormers, just the dormers for the head height.
Okay.
Mrs. McKettrick, you had said that, and you in your presentation, that the height of the roof is going to go up some.
It's 29 point whatever. It's being
Mhm.
increased to 34 point something. So it's about that's about a 5-foot increase in height, but it is not over the height limitation. It's still under 35 feet.
Thank you. Kathleen, sorry to interrupt.
No, I have no other questions.
Okay. Mr. Mullen,
They may have said this during the presentation, but do all of the abutters support the project?
I believe so. I have a chart, actually. Let me just look at it to that. Butters on each side signed letters of support. Abutters at 8 and 10 Hillcrest Road, which is to the rear of the lot,
Right,
signed a letter
right.
of support. And the neighbor across the street at 583 Pleasant Street signed the letter of support.
Okay, thank you. I have no questions. Thank you, Frank.
thank you. Marion, I just have one question, and that goes back. You had suggested in your presentation that a special permit essentially wasn't needed, that a variance would. I just want you to explore that just a little bit.
Well, sometimes in these situations, it's quite common recently that we get a denial letter that just says zoning relief is required. And sometimes in the past, we would get a letter that would be much more specific, that would say you need a special permit for this, you need a variance for that, you need a variance overall, whatever, with more detailed explanation. In this case, I can see that if we didn't have the full 3rd story issue, building anything up from the 9.8 non-conforming side setback on a non-conforming lot might require a special permit from the Board of Appeals to allow what we call intensification of the nonconformity. So that is what's happening here, because the roof height is being increased. So we are building up on a nonconforming side setback, or the applicant wants to build up from a nonconforming side setback. But in addition to that, by creating an enlarged 3rd floor that now exceeds 2/3 of the 2nd floor, that's a new nonconformity. The house doesn't presently have that nonconformity. That would require a variance. So the standards for a variance are more detailed. They relate to the nature of the lot, the physical character of the lot, the hardship, if the variance can't be granted. And then the 3rd criteria is no substantial detriment to surrounding properties. That no substantial detriment to surrounding properties is approximately the same determination that the board would have to make in order to grant the special permit for intensification of an pre-existing nonconformity. So in my opinion, if you grant the variance, you have to determine that all 3 of the criteria for the variance have been met. So you would be determining the criteria that's required for a special permit. It would be fine if the board is inclined to approve, if the board wanted to grant a special permit and a variance, whatever way you want to do it certainly would be acceptable to me.
Thank you. Do any members of the board have any reaction or comments they'd like to make relative to what Mrs. McKettrick just articulated?
Well, I'm just wondering whether, I mean, having had a hearing last night on a request for a variance, um, which, we didn't find that they had met the grounds that Marion has, Chuck has recited for a variance. In this case, and we certainly, we've got the, not, I think that everybody could agree that it's not substantial detriment to the abutters, and they've all signed off on it. I think we can agree that number two, the literal enforcement, would create a substantial hardship. They're not really asking for a whole lot. The building already is 9.8 and it's still staying 9.8. It's not going over, going to be more than that. And then I guess we'd only have to sort of, for the variance, have to state what kind of special circumstances are related to the, the shape or topography of the lot. And I guess the only thing we could say there is the fact that it's really small and there's really nowhere else to go but up. So I'm wondering whether, as I said, whether the criteria for a special permit are easier to hit than the ones for the variance.
If we weren't having this conversation, I would have elected, and I thought we were gonna consider both.
Mm-hmm.
Never in favor of giving more relief than is requested, but I do think we've got both issues here. It
Mm-hmm.
feels like the right thing to do based on the way I understand the law, and based on the way that Marion has presented the case, that just feels a little bit more consistent. I also think it supports the point you made, Kathleen. So, without prejudging where the board comes out, we haven't reached that phase of that point of the hearing. I do think we ought to think about it with both
Mm-hmm.
things.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's over requesting relief. I don't think that's belt and suspenders. I think that's probably the appropriate analysis.
Yeah.
All right, I would tend to agree with that analysis if we were going to go in that particular direction in terms of granting a relief, but the hearing continues. Mrs. McKettrick, is there anything else that you'd like to add at this particular point in time?
Well, just to say, considering some of the things that you've just mentioned, with the special permit standard, I believe that this application clearly meets the requirements for no additional substantial detriment to the neighborhood than the existing condition. And the two things that pertain to the special permit are, under that, you could raise the roof up to the 35-foot limit,
Mm-hmm.
and you could build up, and it's the building up that's considered the intensification of existing nonconformities. So that, for the special permit, I think we've presented a good argument on that. The variance, the second relief that you would be asked to grant then would be the variance, and that would be to create a full third story rather than 2/3. And I have discussed this with the applicant. If he could not increase the area in the third story, he couldn't really finish it as a master bedroom bathroom combination. They really do need the additional bathroom. There have been a number of other applications that have come before this board where you have agreed to approve the full third story under appropriate circumstances where the design of the house was architecturally consistent, and where the architecture fit in generally with the neighborhood and just was well designed. So those are my only additional comments.
Okay, thank you. Any of the board members have any additional comments? Okay, seeing none, at this point in time, let me open the hearing to any members of the public who may wish to present. Bill, are there any members of the public who have joined the session?
We do not have any members of the public with us today.
Seeing none, we will declare the evidentiary portion of this hearing closed. And the open meeting law requires us to discuss and vote on the application here and now, and we will proceed to do that. Let me begin. I'm going to ask Mr. Mullen if he wouldn't mind opening the discussion.
I support the application. I support both the issuance of the special permit as well as the variance, and I believe that both standards have been met here. As Mrs. McKettrick indicated, we've given over the years many variances based on the architectural details and the overall appearance of the property, as in addition to the other findings we've made with respect to the validity of the variance. Here, with the overwhelming support of the abutters, the clear need, demonstrated need, the size of the lot, and the architectural quality with which the project is being carried out, I think the application is well presented, and I believe it's worthy of support, and I'm prepared to give it mine.
Thank you. Ms. O'Donnell?
I agree with Mr. Mullen. I live in a neighborhood where all of us have had 2.5-story houses. Many people have expanded into that third floor. I appreciate the fact that this is a modest reconfiguration of the third floor and not like the Eiffel Tower or something constructed on top. I think the architect did a good job of trying to see the best way to blend this increase in to the existing home. And so I'm in favor of granting the relief requested.
Well, I agree with my colleagues, and I do believe that the application was well presented. I am swayed by the support of the abutters, and I agree with Mr. Mullen in terms of his comments relative to the quality that is evident in this project. So at this point, let me ask for a motion to approve the application.
I would make that motion.
Second from Mr. Mullen. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Jeff, you're on mute, but I saw you signify yes, so
Aye.
thank you. So there you have it. Mr. Kelly, I appreciate you taking the time to be with us this evening, and congratulations on your variance and special permit. So we
Thank you.
look forward to you proceeding with your project. Now, there are some formalities that have to be pursued here, and your attorney, Mrs. McKettrick, is very well versed in what has to go on next. The short version is we will be preparing a decision. There is a short appeals period as well. And while it is unlikely, given the fact that no one appeared to contest your application at this hearing, that there would be an appeal filed, it nevertheless is a possibility. So Mrs. McKettrick can lay out for you what is involved in terms of coordinating with the building inspector, things like that. There are certain things that are going to need to be recorded at the Registry of Deeds, so that the title to your house can be maintained properly. And I have every confidence, as I've said several times, that Mrs. McKettrick will be able to explain those details, those intricacies, which are important, and at the end of the day serve to protect you as the homeowner in this process. In terms of the decision, a written decision will need to be issued. Can take upwards of 2 to 3 weeks, sometimes a little longer. I expect that this will be relatively 2 to 3 weeks, and then after that, once the decision is filed, then the hearing, the appeals process begins. So, Mrs. McKettrick, Have I done a decent job there? Is there anything you'd like to add?
Of course, yes, very decent. My only question is whether the board would like me to draft a decision, or at least a preliminary version for the board.
Thank you for taking the words right out of my mouth.
I'd be happy to do that.
Thank you.
That would be pleased. That would be, so, Mr. Elliott, do you have any questions at this point in time?
No, thank you, though.
Okay. Well, congratulations. The board wishes you the best. And with that, I will call for and accept a motion to adjourn this hearing.
So moved.
I have a second. All those in favor of adjourning this hearing, please signify by saying aye.
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 Thank you all. Appreciate it. And good luck.
Have a
Thanks.
good night.
Thank you.
Good night,
you.
everybody.
Good to see you.
Good night, everyone.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.